So I tend to get job alerts regularly on LinkedIn, and I think at one point in the past I probably set it up so I would get job alerts, and I forget how it works if it's weekly or daily, but I feel like I'm constantly getting these like job alerts from LinkedIn. And at one point in the past, like I thought I would get a job alert, and they have this easy apply feature where LinkedIn remembers your information. If you had already uploaded a resume, you just click the button basically, and there might be some questions, some quick questions like, are you legal to work in the U.S.? Do you have experience with, for example, implementing a CRM system? Whatever, right? So the problem with this, well, it's the good and the bad, right? It's 2025, and applying for a job shouldn't take you like 30 minutes to fill out every form, like type in every school that you've been to and every job, and like, or the ones where they take your resume and paste it in. It's redundant, right? Like you go to a company website and it's like attach your resume, and then okay, fill out this form and list every single job you previously had. Look at the resume, like, so I LinkedIn does make it very very easy, so I give them that, and I think it's really cool. And from there, um, you know, it's kind of like how many can you apply for, right? So in my case, I'm currently, so you might see chief executive officer. I'm like, well, no wonder you have a hard time because you're applying for these jobs. So full disclosure, I am currently a CEO slash president. So these alerts are relevant to me, right? I think it's kind of cool. Say if you are a vice president and you want to take the next step, maybe you want to create an alert for a CEO or chief sales officer, chief commercial officer, whatever the case may be, right? So I think over the course of my life with these things, I have never gotten a response. And the irony is I get recruiters who call me all the time, and I get interest that way and whatnot. So I know it's not because I have horrible experience or whatever, but I think really what you are doing is playing the numbers game. And I'll show you an example. So if I click on any one of these, I bet there's easily over 100 people who applied for them. So let's see. Which one do we want to pick? Let's pick maybe the first one. Okay. All right. So we picked the first one, chief executive officer, and it was just 2 days ago. Over 100 applicants, right? So I can click on easy apply and be another applicant. So and there's some things down here, just like they'll tell you how many. I think this is actually kind of cool if you use premium, which I do. How many people applied for the job? How many in the past? So it said over 100 up here, but down here it says 664 applicants in 2 days, and then this many, so about 400 in the past day, and then what at the C level. 25%, 19% VP, senior. So I think that is cool. That is really cool. Like if you're a job seeker, I think it's kind of cool to know those stats, right? I am currently not seeking a job, as I just accepted a position because I was recruited, and the current job I'm leaving, I was recruited to that job. So I didn't use LinkedIn, even though I have used LinkedIn to apply for jobs that I thought might be interesting. So my point being is, of course they have the salary range and all these things, but not all of them have the salary range. But other things that when you set up an alert, like the remote, full time, yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you're a job seeker out there, maybe it's more of a question I have. Applying for jobs through LinkedIn, how do you set yourself apart? Because if I was unemployed, and who knows, I am also a realist. There may be a time in my career in the future where that happens. You don't know. You just don't know. The best people lose their jobs at times. It just happens. So what I'm saying is, if you're unemployed and you're spending hours every day, searches easy apply, searches easy apply, and you're up against, in this case, 664, but I am sure these easily, like, this is only 2 days, so let's round up to 1,000. So if you are applying for jobs and you're typically up against 1,000 other applicants, the only way I think you can stand out is if it's a opportunity within an industry that you've have spent significant amount of time in, so the algorithm with your background and your experience is very relevant, that you get moved to the top, right? Now, a lot of these jobs on here, they're all across different industries. And like when I say industries, I'm talking about being very specific, right? So and for talking to YouTube, I'll be a little bit vaguer, so it's figure out exactly what company I work for. But of course, if you find my LinkedIn profile, you can, and that's fine. Connect with me. If you, for example, in my case, instrumentation, right? There's certain segments within instrumentation I am very well known, because I've spent 15 years in this field, and much of it in a leadership position. So therefore, if I were to apply for a job for a company in my field, right away they would know my company that I'm currently working at, or if I was unemployed, formerly worked at, and say, okay, let's just have a conversation with this guy, right? Because that's all you're hoping for, is to have a conversation and get that first phone call, whether it's a recruiter that's posting these on LinkedIn, or the actual HR department for the company, maybe even the hiring manager. But other than that, hitting on that, it is a crapshoot. So I think, and I'm speaking as a CEO myself, I think my approach would be, if I was unemployed and I was trying to work my channels, if you will, what's available to me to find employment, I think first I would reach out to my network, right? Who do you know? And I think it's fine. I see people who post on LinkedIn, open to work and that kind of thing. That's fine, but I haven't yet run into anyone who's actually has gotten hired for a position based on that. Maybe there has, and I'm unaware. But to my knowledge, anyone in my network, I have not heard that. So that's one thing. The other thing too is, I can think of easily a dozen to 2 dozen people I pick up the phone and just check in with and say, hey, what's going on, and hey, I'm on the market now, and I'm available. Just kind of just saying, letting your network, your colleagues or associates in your network know that you're open to work, and whether it's maybe something like consulting or contract work, short term, through your network, that could lead to something. That might be something to pursue. Also, in my role, I work with a lot of recruiters that either A, have brought me on board within the organizations I've worked for, or recruiters that I have contracted to hire people to bring them into my organization. I am reaching back out to them and letting them know I'm on the market, right? So those are some things I would do. Getting back to LinkedIn. Well, I think the other thing too is, before I get back to LinkedIn, I would also think about what other organizations in your industry that you potentially could seek employment from, and go to their website, check out their careers page. Are they hiring? If they are, what for? Is it relevant to you? Even if they're not hiring, and a lot of times they'll say, we're always keeping an eye out for good talent. Email your resume to so and so, HR at so and so.com. Work that angle, right? And then lastly, now I'm getting back to LinkedIn. Lastly, and you could do this with Indeed as well, maybe. Lastly, with LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn is like cold calling, right? It's a numbers game. Yeah, you can refine your message, you can refine your pitch, how you position yourself, but ultimately it's a numbers game. So it's like blocking and tackling or practice, right? I think when you do these other things in between, you got to spend some time each day and play the numbers game on LinkedIn. And perhaps just maybe you get noticed, right? At least you have that in the background going. And then I would say take advantage of things like LinkedIn Premium and those tools that can potentially help you as well. All right, so I just wanted to share that, and what kind of brought it up in my mind is I just recently went through an interview process myself, accepted a position, and it made me think about, I know a couple of people who are in between jobs, and they talk about the frustration of trying to find a job and whatnot. And I get these LinkedIn alerts, and I think what a joke they are, because so many people apply. And because the easy apply, you could just essentially shotgun approach and just hit easy apply, answer one or two questions, and your resume is off. It takes seconds, right? So you could just not even read what the job's about and apply to it. And what's the worst case that happens? No one gets back to you, which seems to be what happens anyway. So all those things kind of got me thinking, like, I should maybe talk about this because it's interesting. And for those of you who are out there looking for a job, maybe you picked up something on this or whatever. And if anyone has any questions, or comments, feel free to comment. I have interviewed a lot of people and have hired a lot of people. I've also been on a lot of interviews throughout my career. So if there's any questions or topics in terms of preparing for an interview, or things to look out for, types of interview questions, whether you are the interviewer or the interviewee, types of questions. I do find when I'm interviewing somebody and they ask me a good question, like a thought-provoking question, it's awesome. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hope to see you on the next one.